Hey everyone, I just wanted to put a quick video together on how to set up a rig for linking into another scene. At least in my mind, in a cleaner way than I found in some other rigs. So this is a slightly older version of my MT103 rig. If we look at the collection structure, we can see it makes sense from a scene. So we've got a collection with the rig in and all the various objects related to it, and then we've got the meshes kind of parented to the armature. And this is easy from scene management. If you append it to another file, it's easy to move around. Now the problem is when we link this collection MT103 droid into another scene, it will have all of this with it, including the rig and the armature controls visible. And then when we create a proxy for the rig, which creates a second object of the rig itself, of the armature, that is MT103 rig, then suddenly we have this kind of double layering of controls going on. So just to show what I mean, if I open a new scene and we link in that rig that I was just looking at. So if you go to the file, if you've never linked something before, you go file, link, find the blend file, go to collections, and in this case we want to link in the MT103 droid collection, and we can see we've got the object linked. We can't animate it yet, but we can clearly see it has all of the controls with it. Now when we go to object relationships, make proxy, and we select the rig because we want to create a proxy for the armature, which is the MT103 rig. Now you can see we have this proxy object of the rig in place, which we can now move, and we can see it affects the mesh. But we have this double layering going on, so these controls that are already part of this base linked object are kind of clashing with the controls, and we can kind of try and get around this by going to the armature properties and view display and select in front, and now we can see it's kind of better. So for example, the arm here, we can see it's green and selected, but here you can see these controls are still kind of competing for the screen, and you've still kind of just got this double layering going on, which I don't quite like. Okay, so that's the problem. Now an idea of how to fix it. So if I go back to that rig, I'm going to make some changes to the collections. So what I want to link in is just the kind of the mesh itself, and then I want to create a proxy of just the rig. But we need to link in all of that data to make the proxy in the first place. So we can't just link in a collection without the armature in it, because then it wouldn't be in the scene. But at the same time, we don't seem to be able to link them both in at the same time, because then there's a clash. So if I just create a new collection, and I'll call it I'll just call it MT103 rig, and then I'm going to take my the object of the armature, which has the mesh and everything parented with it, and in its object properties, I'm going to also add it to this MT103 rig collection. So now it's in both. And we can import this, but now we're in pretty much the exact same situation at the minute. So what I'm also going to do is create another group in here called hidden. And I'm going to actually move it in there. So what about this hidden collection is deliberately going to be made to be hidden. But when we link this, now the problem is nothing will be visible in terms of the object. So I'm going to take the mesh, all of the mesh objects, and just move them out of hidden back into the rig collection. So if I just add them to rig, do this for each. I'm sure there's a quicker way to do this than one at a time. But okay, there we go. So now we've got a new collection called empty103 rig with a hidden group inside containing the armature, which is not visible, and then a visible set of meshes, well, mesh objects. And now so it's kind of cluttered up the scene a bit, and I don't really like that. Now we've got kind of two collections for the same purpose. So I'm actually going to unlink this to kind of hide it. It kind of seems like it's been deleted, but it's still in the scene. It's just an orphaned object now because it's lost its parent. But we can still access it, and as long as we keep this checked, it won't get destroyed when we delete the files, when we close the file. Whereas if this wasn't checked, we would lose this. So now if we just save that, we have this clean scene still, but we'll have a new collection we can import. So if I open a new scene again and link in, so again this is the same file I just saved over the changes. Now we go to collections. Now what we want to do is we want to link in the rig, and we can see now we have the object without the controls, but when we create the proxy of the armature, we have the armature on its own, and we don't have to worry about those clashes of controls anymore. And if you want to get rid of this axis in the middle, you can just go to the whichever control this is, the object data properties, and set its size to 0, and that kind of tidies that up. And then you can animate without having to worry about weird rendering issues in the UI. So hopefully that was useful to some people. I know, I found it handy. I know that I kind of figured this out by pulling apart one of Wayne Dixon's rigs from CG Cookie, his Vombot rig specifically, as they didn't seem to have the problem that I was having, or the other rigs that I was looking at were having. And then eventually by figuring out where those lost groups were and how they worked, it made sense, and hopefully this helps it make sense too. Cool. See you next time.